Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. That means win or lose, every bet brings you closer to the types of perks only Caesars can offer, like hotel stays at over 50 iconic destinations, bonus bets, daily profit boosts, tickets to the game, dining, and so much more. Whether you're a new or existing customer, Caesars Sportsbook is always rewarding. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Caesars Sportsbook. Don't just spectate, participate.
Luxury is meant to be livable. Discover the new leather collection at Ashley with premium quality leather sofas, recliners, and more, all built to last. No matter how many spills, scuffs, or pet-related mishaps come its way, the leather collection at Ashley is made with the durability you need for the whole family. Shop the new leather collection at Ashley and find chairs starting at $499.99 and sofas at $599.99. Ashley, for the love of home.
I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Welcome to News du Jour. You may be wondering, why am I, Annie Bowles, here hosting this podcast? I usually start by telling people I'm a political baby. You see, my parents met working on Capitol Hill. By the time I was 2, I had been in my first political commercial and even got lost crawling around the West Wing. Don't worry, Al Gore found me. My family then moved abroad when I was 9, and I attended an international school in Brussels with kids from all over the world. And it is this type of global perspective that I also bring to our show. I graduated from American University in DC after studying political science and art history, as well as interning on both sides of Capitol Hill. I even interned down the hall from where my parents met. I'm now pursuing a professional certificate in journalism at NYU in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine. I guess I was always that friend in the group who cared deeply about not just what was going on politically, but also globally. I often kept my own friends informed through high school and into young adulthood, so I guess I've always done a version of this show. I'm genuinely passionate about following the news, and I'm here to break it down for you guys every weekday. We always strive to be a calmer space to get your news. Or, as one listener put it, like getting your news from a well-informed bestie. I'm so glad you're here. Hey everyone. Oh my gosh. Spring break is kicking my butt. I don't know if there's any other moms or parents out there who are dealing with this too, but my workload is no less because my kid is on spring break. So trying to do everything that I do in a day with him home with me is next to impossible. In fact, it is impossible. So I am definitely on the brink over here. Just wanted to give you guys that heads up as we head into today's episode. But our plans for spring break were a little bit derailed because the school at the last minute decided to switch spring break to a different week. I don't know how they're allowed to do that. But anyway, without going on too much of a tangent on that, I am very tired and just wanted to give you guys that heads up. I also wanted to make sure that you guys saw in your podcast feed from us, we have a bonus episode that went live yesterday. It's where we interview Nikki Adamando and Michelle Horton. As a reminder, Nikki Adamando is a criminalized survivor. She was facing a life sentence, but was freed due to a similar bill to the one that we are working on here in Oklahoma. It was passed in New York in 2018, and our entire piece of legislation is based off of the bill that freed Nikki. So we're connecting the dots for you guys. It is Nikki's first interview that she's given to anyone since she left prison. Shows like 2020, and, major news outlets have covered Nikki's story and Michelle's book, and they're also knocking on her door for an interview. So the fact that she came to me and wanted to have her first interview back on my show was so humbling and such an honor. I hope I did it justice. And ultimately, the reason that Nikki and Michelle came on my show is to connect the dots between their story, the piece of legislation, and the piece of legislation that is coming up for a vote here in Oklahoma. So they're using their platform to raise awareness about this bill that can help so many women here. We have a ton in the works to help promote this bill, and I cannot wait to share with you guys major events coming up that I hope to see you guys at. And if you feel moved by these stories, I wanted to encourage you guys, you can help women like Nikki and like April by signing the petition that we have in our show notes. As a reminder, if our bill is successful, it could result in dozens, if not hundreds, of criminalized survivors who were put through hell by abusers and then put through hell by our justice system to walk free, reuniting mothers with children who have suffered greatly during their time apart, not even being able to hug or kiss their little ones for years, you guys. This bipartisan bill is incredibly important, and it brings the justice system a little more up to speed with what we understand about coercive control and abuse generally. Thank you guys so much for following along with this journey to pass the Oklahoma Survivors Act. Now, without further ado, I will go ahead and jump into our episode for today. So first and foremost, Biden has launched a new auto emissions standard. So according to the AP, the Biden administration has announced new automotive emissions rules as of yesterday. Like we covered in literally yesterday's episode, Biden has actually focused a ton of his time and energy as president on the environment. And this is just further action that he's taking on this subject. Environmental officials are calling this the most ambitious plan ever to cut back on emissions and attempt to slow the catastrophic effects of climate change. So what exactly would this new standard do? Well, first of all, it would, quote, ensure that the majority of new passenger cars and light trucks sold in the United States are all electric or hybrids by 2032, end quote, according to the New York Times. As is Biden's way, he is definitely with this executive order trying to tie the battle for our planet to job opportunities. This is something he's always talked about, he's always wanted to do, and now he's literally walking the walk. He wants to create jobs by working to save our planet. That's why they call it the Green New Deal. If you guys remember back in civics class, the New Deal was a piece of legislation that helped create jobs in the wake of the Great Depression. That law was signed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR. He was actually my favorite president, by the way, because he did everything he did in spite of a very serious chronic illness. But I digress. Biden is hoping to tackle two issues hand in hand: unemployment and healing our planet. And that is why this legislation for our climate, or the previous legislation put forward by Biden, was called the Green New Deal. It was a reference to that FDR bill. And in this executive order, he's doing the same thing. Through this executive order, Biden wants to have a carbon pollution-free electricity sector by 2035 and, wait for it, zero emissions economy-wide by 2050. Wow, you guys, my brain is exploding. This is huge. This plan would also cut back on air pollutants that aggravate things like asthma, respiratory conditions, and induce heart attacks. The executive order was very long, and I think it will take people a few days to, kind of parse out all of these various commitments and the political subtext here. But suffice it to say, this is a groundbreaking executive order, and if it were successful, it would do wonders in terms of battling the climate crisis. Just yesterday, we had no idea that Biden would be making this announcement, but we covered that millions of children in Afghanistan are starving due to famine and drought that are directly induced by the warming of our planet. There's no way around the fact that the climate crisis is already claiming thousands, if not millions, of lives, and it will continue to do so long as we do not take pretty extreme action to stop it. Everyone world over will be affected by this, but those poorest will feel it the most. Let's hope that Biden can achieve these goals and help save the lives of tomorrow's children. So next up for today, I wanted to make sure we broke down this story, you guys. There has been a lot of drama when it comes to the border, Texas, and the Supreme Court. So I'm here to break down for you guys exactly what has been going on, because I'm going to be honest, these headlines were also confusing me. So I needed to dive into exactly what this all means and what is going down. But we're here to break it down for you guys, and it's actually not that confusing once you get into the weeds. So the state of Texas is trying to enforce a law where they can immediately arrest someone for crossing the U.S. border without explicit approval. As of now, the Supreme Court temporarily allowed the law to go into effect, but the Biden administration claims the law is unconstitutional because Congress is supposed to be in charge of our borders as a country, not individual states. And that's part of what makes us one unified nation. But while this law is making its way through the court system, a court of appeals just ruled that the law should be put on hold. So that's why things have been confusing. The law went into effect, then it wasn't in effect, then it was in effect again, and now it's not in effect again. So this has been a bit of a Lucy with the football, a bit of whiplash, whichever metaphor we choose. It's been downright confusing for all those stuck on the border, whether that's the Border Patrol, whether that's, advocacy groups helping to facilitate it all, or those hoping to come into the United States. Everyone is confused. Everyone is on pins and needles, waiting to try to understand Texas's potential new law. We will definitely keep you guys posted on this. And then one little update about one of Trump's court cases. So if you guys remember, we've covered this before, but a judge appointed by Trump himself is actually overseeing Trump's classified documents case. And she is taking actions that legal experts have really been scratching their heads at. She has proposed just recently 2 scenarios, both of which are very confusing and, as I understand it, are all about the Presidential Retention Act, which really should not be a factor when it comes to classified documents because they are by nature classified. They are not personal documents. But the scenarios that she is presenting in court would potentially be jury instructions. So Jack Smith has to be fuming over this because, according to legal experts for MSNBC, these 2 scenarios just do not make legal sense and could potentially confuse juries as to what their instructions really are. We will definitely wait to see how Jack responds. I'm very interested to see what his next move is here. And as always, we will definitely keep you guys posted on this. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "Action is the foundational key to all success." Please consider listening to our Nikki and Michelle bonus episode after this one. Thank you guys so much for fighting this fight with us, for going on this journey with us for this piece of legislation. I so appreciate you. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review on that platform or a shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us to be able to keep creating the news du jour and reach more people who need a calmer space to consume the news. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfree media, and that is also linked in our show notes. You can follow us on social media at newsdujour.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my personal account at It's Annie Bowles on both platforms as well. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. That means win or lose, every bet brings you closer to the types of perks only Caesars can offer, like hotel stays at over 50 iconic destinations, bonus bets, daily profit boosts, tickets to the game, dining, and so much more. Whether you're a new or existing customer, Caesars Sportsbook is always rewarding. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Caesars Sportsbook. Don't just spectate, participate.
Luxury is meant to be livable. Discover the new leather collection at Ashley with premium quality leather sofas, recliners, and more, all built to last. No matter how many spills, scuffs, or pet-related mishaps come its way, the leather collection at Ashley is made with the durability you need for the whole family. Shop the new leather collection at Ashley and find chairs starting at $499.99 and sofas at $599.99. Ashley, for the love of home.